Hi everybody, it's Dr. Brockenshire, and I wanted to introduce you to a new technology we're offering at Innovative Health Solutions, and that technology is called regulation thermometry. It looks like this. The device is called an AlphaSight. It's full body thermometry. Now this isn't thermography, this is the next generation of thermography. So if you've ever had a mammogram, or you've had a thermogram, and you know the differences, you know they both have their value, but the scientific literature is leaning on the value of thermal imaging versus radiation. And what we've brought into the office is the next generation of thermograms. So instead of just looking at breast tissue, we're able to look at pretty much the whole body, from the skull to the waist. And we can really get in there and take detailed measurements thermally, so heat, temperature-based measurements, and look at changes in how the body responds to temperature so we can determine where dysfunction is occurring, particularly in the dental system and the lymphatic system. This is very valuable technology, and I'm pretty proud to offer it in the office. Finally, it's something I've been wanting to do since 2013. So let me introduce you to some of the technology here.
Regulation thermometry uses the process of thermoregulation to observe the physiological health of organs and systems. Since autonomic thermoregulation is partly determined by the functional capacity of organs and systems within the body, thermoregulation can give us insights into dysfunction and disturbance effects that are often causal factors leading to disease and disease progression. Whether you're enjoying a hot summer day or bundled up on a cold winter day, your body is constantly adapting to the environment to maintain a stable body temperature through the complex process of thermoregulation. The skin is a crucial element in maintaining body temperature. It sweats when we're hot, and it forms goosebumps when we're cold. With regulation thermometry, we can use the process of thermoregulation to assess the body's regulation capacity by measuring the temperature of specific areas on the skin. How? The autonomic nervous system influences temperature regulation throughout the body, and in response to both internal and external stress factors, it manipulates capillary blood flow to and from the skin, which results in heat emission or withdrawal from the skin's surface. For instance, in our test, we expose the whole body to cool, room temperature air. The autonomic response then causes the capillary beds to shunt blood away from the skin to the head and body core, thereby maintaining essential organ temperature and oxygenation at the expense of skin temperature. And here's the key. This autonomic response allows us to assess underlying organ and tissue health by way of skin temperature behavior. So the skin's reflection of thermoregulatory physiology provides information that can be crucial in disease process assessments. Let's take a look at how the skin is related to other organs throughout the body. Due to our embryonic development, the nerves coming from the spinal cord innervate following horizontal segments of the skin called dermatomes. These neurocutaneous pathways develop further to allow a bidirectional transmission between the spinal nerves and organs. So when the body is stimulated by an environmental temperature change and must respond to maintain internal homeostasis, impulses from underlying organs actually affect the responsive behavior, resulting in vasoconstriction or vasodilation of the skin. This phenomenon is known as the VISCERO-CUTANEOUS reflex arc, and it is through this reflex arc and the capillary behavior in the skin that we can envision organ and tissue health as the nervous system responds to the process of thermoregulation. In fact, it has been found that up to 70% of the skin's thermoregulation behavior is controlled by local underlying organs and tissues. Now, from what we understand about thermoregulation, the autonomic nervous system, and the viscerocutaneous reflex arc, we can construct a simplified illustration of the specific neurological processes involved in thermoregulation. When the skin is introduced to a thermal stimulus, The nervous system will send impulses from the skin to the brain, and the impulse back to the capillaries will include signals coming from the underlying organs. Each organ responds according to its own functional capacity and vitality, influencing the impulses that alter the capillary beds and thus affecting the temperature of the skin at related areas of the body. It is through this viscero-cutaneous reflex arc that we can identify influences that lead to disease progression. So, by stimulating the body with cool air and measuring the changes in skin temperature, regulation thermometry gives us exceptional insights into the body's system-wide physiological health.
So if that's not enough technical information for you, I don't know what else we can do. But basically, it's going to assess how your body responds to the stress of temperature variation. It's completely non-invasive, totally safe. There's really nothing safer out there than taking temperature. When we look at the whole screening, and this little device here is what's being used, it's a very sensitive thermal camera. We take a couple hundred readings of the body, from the sinuses and the skull all the way down to the waist. And from those readings, a report is generated. The mathematics of that report then determine where the issues lie in the body as far as what's wrong, where, and what it all means. And the raw data looks something like this. What you're looking at are all the different temperature fluctuations during the test. And fluctuations are not necessarily a good or bad thing. It's how you look at it on the whole that determines most of our information. But the highlight for me is being able to look at the dental field. Notice that there's 32 individual points just for the dental field alone. So if you've ever wondered about a root canal or a filling, or maybe you read something that root canals aren't good for you, or that they can cause issues down the road, this is the type of technology that allows us to determine whether or not your teeth could be affecting your overall health. Not to mention it does look at the lymphatics of the throat and the breast and so on and so forth, but the teeth are really exciting for me because I see so many people with hidden dental issues causing a lot of problems throughout their body. And the report that's generated, several pages long, and there's a lot of education in it for the patient to help you understand. For example, tooth number 30 is related to the large intestine, and that could cause shoulder pain or sinus issues or leaky gut or digestive issues, so on and so forth. So this really allows us to get to the root cause of a lot of people's problems, particularly issues that haven't responded to other types of care. And when we look at the sinuses, we get the same type of data. So for people in the Midwest that have had chronic sinus issues their whole life, this allows us to take a more in-depth look as to what went wrong where. Particularly in the Midwest, we see a lot of thyroid issues as well. So this gives us an idea as to the circulation of that region of the body and whether or not viruses could be playing a role. Obviously, there's a lot of lymph nodes here, and that's what we're measuring. So you get a lot of information very quickly. It only takes 20 minutes. You can get more information at the website. You can also email us for more. Or the next time you're in the office, just ask, what is this all about? And we'll show it to you. But I'm very happy to offer it, so I hope everybody takes advantage of this year. And we're excited to share your results with you.